Hi, it's me again, Alex. This time we're gonna look at the game between Matt with the Amazons against Niels with the Undead. Pretty common setups. Here 14 players. We have Undead with 4 ghouls, 12 players. We have a Frenzy and a guard white here, and we have just 3 guard and a tackle blitzer, and then a block and a wrestle blitzer on here. So it's Blizzard, which I guess should, well, I guess it's about even. Um, the ghouls have it a bit easier, but the mummies struggle a lot. They can't stand up and walk one, so that might be a bit difficult. Then again, against Amazons, mummies should never even have to get up anyways, so that's fine. I don't really see why to put a guy here if there's no pressure on the time clock, so you might as well just put them both back one, because if you get perfect defense, you just get your mummy placed here and you have to dodge for no reason, even if just a zombie and a white are here, you probably can't block them and then have to really dodge away for no reason, so don't put them on the line of scrimmage if you're not trying to go like for a two-turner where you really need every movement. Go. Pick up, go a bit for one side, that's all fine. Actually, then here I have this move. Then on this move, I was just looking at that and thinking, well, I mean, what can you do? I guess you push this guy away. So there would be an option to actually even blitz this guy with this mummy, 1, 2, 3, to get the mummy blitz in. Obviously move that guy or even that guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here first, so you get the 3 dice with the mummy. Stand these 2 up. Then you can actually move in here, which will allow you to actually chain push then one guy after you block this guy, which would make it 1 dice, which doesn't help much since it's a frenzy guy, but you can get your mummy to a nicer place right here, whereas he already committed quite many players over here. And if you have the guard mummy here, if you block this guy and the guard away, and you pow this guy, then you might even get a double 1 dice on this guy, or a 1 and 2 and 1 dice on this guy. So maybe a bit better move, because if we look at what happens, you stand then with your mummy like to this single guy. Right, small disruption, sorry. So you then play him here and this guy here, where I would see actually either you move the mummy here and this guy to get the 3 dice, because what you really want to do against Amazons is get the mighty blow 3 dice in to get a good chance to get rid of them, and that means exposing a bit your defense, a little bit, I guess that's fine. If you don't do that, then at least like move over 1 more, because what you do here now is, by the way, also using the reroll here. I haven't even seen that, but that's another reason, of course, to get the 3 dice with the mummy to not have to use a reroll. Not sure if you would have had to use the reroll, but I guess at this point, yeah, you only have 3. If it were your offense, you probably would have tried to avoid it more on your defense. I guess you can use it. It might cost you later. So then what I was gonna say is move these guys a bit further down, because now here this guy is basically open and he can already break through if he wants to. Of course, with Amazons and Blizzard it's a bit too risky, so good thing that he didn't do it. But yeah, still not sure if he wanted to commit a bit more to this side, because with Amazons it's quite slow to actually really change over to the other side. Um, yeah. Then he actually goes and says, well, I mean, I'm just gonna put more pressure on here to get the overhand on this side and secures the ball carrier uh, more or less. Um, I do think it a bit risky when you do actions here before really securing. I mean, yes, this guy has tackle, so he can really um, get the assist here, get this guy down here, and then you get like a free wrestle one dice on the ball carrier right away if any of these moves then fail, any of the further moves, which is like a dodge here. Yeah, which I guess is fine, but it's just relying on a dodge. It wasn't completely necessary. So then the ghoul goes out. A second blitz with the tackler on the ghoul is always nice. He's stunned. You get a lot of overweight here and can actually then break through thanks to these two pows on the ghouls and get already kind of in range. That's fine. Then at this point I don't really understand why you would do any actions before really securing the ball. I mean, yes, you can do the blitz first, but I mean the main goal at this point is trying to get to turn 8 as safe as possible. You already have a ghoul hurt, you have a knockout. Yes, you could kind of say, well, yeah, I want to foul this guy here, but not on cost of reducing the defense here. So I mean, yes, I mean it could be you go down here, you screen with these guys, and then you defoul and then you go down. But if you opt to blitz this guy first, which is a fine choice, I think, then you're kind of out of position. You need to screen better first to really not make them come through. And then you probably don't have enough guys to foul, except if you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with this guy, then go these two guys down here, and then maybe foul at the end of the turn with 2 or 3 assists, which should still be enough for the armor 7. And if he doesn't get sent off, if you foul from this tackle guy, it still blocks the frenzy guy to actually move on as well, and which is of course helpful. And also I think we are very helpful to get the tackle guy somewhere down here, so when he gets a ghoul next to the ball carrier, you can actually then blitz him away with the tackler without having to dodge. So ideally you have like a cage with 4 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, where the tackler is like the back corner, and then you kind of try to do the rest of the plays. So let's see what was played then. You went for the option to blitz this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then screened here a bit, yeah, which is not bad. However, then failed to dodge, and then he can somehow with the POW, yeah, I guess it was quite lucky to actually get 2 guys to the ball, but nevertheless he can then get that. And the problem is all your guys here, right, they cannot help at all to now stall further, right? So I mean, yeah, you might get the occasional crowd push here, but you kinda have to score now. I don't really see to stall this out. I mean, yes, he only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, but in my point of view that's still too risky, because he has the movement advantage here. I mean, he has dodger guys who you might not get down with 4 dice, and he has the mummies who can kind of protect a little bit. So I probably would have scored here. You opt to not score, kind of dodging away. I mean, let's just go back again and see. I mean, what happens? You always have to ask yourself, obviously, what happens if you fail your dodge, right? So, uh, so if this guy falls down here, right? So what's happening, right? So, I guess he wants to go with the wrestler. So probably he'd even up to kind of dodge away with this guy, and then block or blitz the wrestler. But probably best move would even be like blitz here. You could blitz here potentially. Blitz here. 1, 2, 3. Nah, that's too risky as well. Go 3+ for nothing. So I mean, yeah. Dodge away here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 even. And then probably blitz with the wrestler or block with the wrestler. Whichever saves you still a chance to get it with the sure-hander. And then imagine, I mean, he has one guy here, right? This guy blocks. Let's say he gets the POW. The ball goes here. He hasn't even blitzed yet, right? He can blitz with the mummy. 1, 2, 3, close to cage. And then you can just 4+3+ pick it up with your hands. And then he kinda has the ball here. Yes, it's hard to get out, but he might well be able with the 2 mummies to actually stall this out till the end of the drive, and even then at some point the risk to break through and even score. So I think the score here is the better option. Anyway, it worked. Goes a bit back and forth then in the next turns. With the one dice POW, which was of course a bit lucky to get the ball. But I mean, you do have the tackler here, and you do have a guarder. He does not manage to dodge 4+3+ here to actually get it. Here, I guess you can ask yourself, so do I want to risk the tackle blitz with the 3+, or do I want to go with the block guy? I think given that you need to get him down here, that's a good choice. So I think that's fine. Just go back a little bit. Right here, just want to see. So question is, do you really want, well, yeah, you can't really do it anywhere else. The question was, I mean, ideally you would want to push him on this field, but obviously you can't do that, so that's fine. So ball is then gotten free with wrestle, and then the question's a bit to pick up here where to hide, right? So yeah, I mean, obviously we see that in the next turn you get pushed into the end zone, so hiding next to the end zone at this point, if you want to stall, probably not the best option. Question is, do you really want to stall? You have a blotcher, I guess, yeah, that's fine. If you put him like somewhere here, and he has to dodge away, he can dodge away wrestle, but if you put like then just one dodge here, and then only this guy can actually get the one dice, which is without wrestling, then you can even close from this side with another 3+ dodge. So I think this position here would have been a lot better in this perspective. Of course, if both dodges fail, then he gets the assist here and he can actually blitz from here. But the problem is then he doesn't have anybody to pick it up from, right? So that's fine. I mean, even here, if everything fails, right? I mean, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, you get him here, and then it's like all free. There's no tackle zones except this guy here. You can dodge away right here, walk wherever you want. You can even block this guy first. 1, 2, 3, 4, go, pass, go, and score. So I think this is quite a risky position here. So definitely here would be better. Also, if the ball goes out of bounds, if you POW, you never know what happens. It might just bounce in his hands or somewhere here. So yeah, definitely too risky if you want to stall. You might go for the score, which would also be fine, but given you have a blotcher here, I'm fine with the stall, but not here. Okay, then yeah, I mean this fails, so still a bit of a chance to blitz the guy with the 1 dice and pushes him in the end zone, so you have to score, which obviously is not in your favor if you try to stall in the first place. And then the first turn of the second half, and it's a 2-turn attempt, and obviously your goal is to get more than 1 guy into range, so he can't screen off everyone of your players. Very nicely done to get this line down here. I do think the setup that the Amazons did is quite nice. A tackler on the backfield to make sure to be able to blitz one of these threats, which would probably be ghouls. Here to not allow them to go outside, and this is also good enough to, if they don't get the POW, then it's hard to really get through without dodging. Quick snap helps a little bit to get this guy really away and get these free. But yeah, what I do think is, so the question this turn is mainly what happened, what's gonna happen with this ghoul here, right? Because this guy goes in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm worrying whether he should go one more. Can he? Let's just see. Yeah, so that's 3, 4, 5. So definitely push one more, I think, because whatever reason, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go for it. Every field that is no go for it, when this guy is at the end maybe the only chance to score, I would just go here. I mean, it's not like you can really avoid him being screened off here, so I would really just go. And actually, I mean, this guy and this guy there so far, I mean, not sure what you're trying to achieve with kind of caging here. I guess you wanted to, it's a bit inconsistent, right? I mean, either you kind of say, well, look, I mean, I want to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pass to this guy and then get the ball in range in a cage, which is one option. Or you can say, no, I'm just going to put them in range and then just try the lucky pass afterwards. Or maybe hand over and then a short pass on this side. So, but in both ways, you should get, in my opinion, this ghoul into range. And exactly here. So he's actually saved. Which enables, enables 3 players to have score. Actually, I would have probably gone with this guy one further, with this guy actually out here, and then when you have the 2 in range, I would have probably gone for the pickup pass here. So 1, 2, 3. Let's see where this guy was at the beginning here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a 4+ pass, and then run the ball. Actually, sorry. And then you could have this guy with one more here. You could have this guy who was here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere here. And then you can just run with this guy from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even just one more in here, where you get you still get a 2 dice, right? But you have then 3 players around here. If you get the ball free, it might just bounce in the hands of one of this guy. He might not pick it up and still be here. So that's one version. And the other is to just say, well, okay, I'm just gonna spread them out, so he can only cover them each with 2. And then you should be able to 1 dice blitz yourself free somehow, or dodge blitz, and then at least kinda catch a pass on a 4+. You can also try to get a bit further with this guy, because I think even if this guy, well, he's the wrestle guy, which is a bit unfortunate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go. But I mean, I think even a 1 go for it distance to risk that 3 plus for the blitz, which would be a 1 dice blitz. I mean, even if he goes down with wrestle, right? I mean, you stand up with your hands and you're still further ahead than if you stay back here. So, or at least the same. And there's still the risk that he just fails, and especially if you stay with him here, then for sure I would move forward to not have to do the big pass. So let's see, I mean, at the understanding here, what happens is the ghoul goes down, this guy is covered very deeply, nicely safe that there's no chain push possibilities to push him a square. However, he can just, he has even frenzy, he can blitz himself out and dodge it, he tries but fails. So imagine if you had another ghoul here, probably 2 guys standing here, and maybe then it would actually not be a -2 dice because none of these guys have guard, right? So if the ghoul is standing here, then he would have to commit somewhere here. Might just give you the edge to do it. Right, so then second half. That's fine with the setup. What I do usually try to do, I mean, if you play for the win, yes, then you put your mummies on one side and try to go through this side really effectively. But if you try to do that, then don't put your 2 whites on the other side. Then just get 1 wrestle ghoul, maybe to do the first block. If he doesn't succeed, too bad, then just to push. Next turn he's there as well, even if he's bound, because he can dodge away. But with kind of giving these whites on the top side and having your mummy's bot side, and so that's what we'll see what happens now, right? So now you have these 2 whites here, and your whole game is going on down here. So if he blitzes this guy away, or this guy even, he has your 2 whites taken out of the game, which is your frenzy to make pressure, and your guarder, which helps enormously with caging and getting through all these blocks and getting the 1 dices with block, which you have to now take with the zombies. So I think either say, yeah, I stay in mid, and maybe I set up my 2 mummies. What I like to do is set like the mummy here for 1 block on this side, set up a mummy like here, so you get them a bit more centrally, or even here, and have the middle with the frenzy guy or something. Yes, you might not get through as fast, so yeah, but you kind of try, or you tend to then lose 2 of your players virtually for the main gaming, because you see what happens now is with just a blotcher here and these off-screen guys and this stupid dodger, right, where you don't have any blockers, you kind of risk that, and what for, right? I mean, it was even a wrestler on the line, so your block wouldn't save you. You could as well have the wrestler there, which would just enable you to dodge away for free now here, right? But you can't. If you had then, instead of the wrestler, a frenzy or a guard guy here, it could help to block your way free here or whatever. Then the turn itself, actually, I mean, at this point, once that these guys are out of the game more or less, and you want to play for the win, it's actually quite open already now, right? So I would just block with this guy, that guy over here, take a risk to not do the 2 dice block. Then actually, so how it goes is then you blitz this guy away with the mummy, get more space. I would probably even just go and guard, bind this guy, guard here, and then block this guy with 3 dice. Depending on how this goes, you gotta of course stay here. But then you have still a chance to then block this guy or blitz this guy, and kind of get your cage somehow down here, with this guy being over here and this guy being over there. You can also just opt to block this guy first to make sure you can block him here. Then you can also get your way free. But the main idea is get the mummy binding these two guys, get this guy out of the game by pushing him up here, and then you have these three guys open together with this mummy to cage over here, and all these 5 guys over here are suddenly out of the game against your cage down here because they're binding the 2 guys, right? But if you stay in the middle, as you do now here, it means actually these guys are still in the game. They only need 2 guys to block away this guy, and they get then their 3 remaining guys back in the game, and can actually put on a lot of pressure, right? And then of course 2 lucky stuns, but still, I mean, yeah, that's what you get if you kinda get them in the scrimmages, right? So now he has a big overweight on this side, and your only real chance now is to go for a bit of a risky sideline cage here, which with Amazons you should really never get through. It looks kind of desperate here then to escape, right? So what you gonna do here? I mean, let's see. So obviously do these actions first, then go for the 1 dice to escape here with another 1 dice out of range. Yeah, not sure, haven't really studied this situation too much, but it just makes sense. I guess it's quite fine, because if you block this guy down here and it's a push, it's just too risky. It's a wrestler, so 1 dice try is fine, and then yeah, I think it's all okay. The problem is a bit that he even got into this situation by having kind of these 3 players out of the game and this guy as well for no real reason. Whereas like this could be just 2 zombies and these guys could be back here helping you kind of not get the pressure from the backside. It all sounds probably a bit too easy now, but I do think that these little things kind of then help you a lot on getting these 2 instead of 1 dices then afterwards, and getting a bit more screening and done, and having to not risk a 1 dice like with this guy then here, but actually with a white. So let's see how it goes. The 1 dice on Moni, and then the bit of blocking first, always yeah, getting just free here, and you have them all bound, so they kind of tend to have to dodge. So the question is really, I mean, you can get obviously this guy free, but he doesn't have block and he doesn't have wrestle. Well, anyways, so I mean, yeah, you could opt to just go with him, and if he both downs then you just turn over, but since he's like 3 turns away, if the bounce is good after the knockdown, then you can just stand up, pick it up and go in. So that's probably too risky. Then you have this nice tackler blocker here, which is in range with just the 3+ dodge. So I really think that's the better option. The real question is, do you want to I mean, obviously don't do any, I mean, I really don't see why you would do this block here, especially after you did the block with this guy, right? I mean, I could understand trying first to do this block and seeing whether you get a POW on the ghoul, because if you get one, you can block with this guy and then you have him free to block in here, which would make sense to get the block blitz on the ball carrier. But if you block him first, then don't do this block until you've actually blitzed this guy. And as said before, the question is, if you want to blitz with this guy, Do you want to kind of go over here with her in order to prevent the dodge fail from being very a big issue, or do you want to just kind of keep her to pick it up afterwards? You only have this guy to pick it up, and if it's somewhere over here you have a big issue with these guys still being around. So I would suggest that that you just leave her here and go for the 3+ dodge and get the ball free. So you have to not take the risk on this side and say, well, I mean, I can push him to the wall, I can grind him down, that should be easy enough. And then, I mean, of course, we see then in the next turn that this guy makes the game-winning play. So, of course, you have to ask yourself here, right? I mean, why would you move this guy down here? Why would you not move this guy down here, which is stunned? Then this guy has to actually dodge on a 5+ and on a 3+ to make it out instead of just on a 4+, which is a bit more risky. And furthermore, you can then screen him with this guy as well to make this touchdown be for sure a -2 dice blitz. Yeah, you'll then see what happens here. Very nicely played. This is also what I saw would have done as well. Dodging out here with the ghoul, 4+, 3+1 dice, and then a dodge without tackle. Very nice for the equalizer. Then we get a blitz. I mean, in general, for a 2-turner, I also don't see if you have, well, not a 2-turner, but you have 4 turns. He has already set his guys up. Not sure whether you, I mean, again, you have these guys here on the line, but not sure whether you want to commit a bit more to one side. Yes, you have 4 turns, but with movement 6 it's not all that big, and you could put a bit of an overweight to one side to get a bit more threat over there. I think blitz is of course a problem. I think it's fine to first block this guy. What I don't see is, I mean, you have to go for it here to put this guy in a tackle zone and go for it. This is 3+. Maybe forgot about the snow, but I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is way the better move. Yes, you can move him back here with 6 to get him more closer to the ball, but definitely do a dodge instead of a 3+. Go for it first, which is even reroll free. Even better, probably just pick it up first, because otherwise it's just, you know, blitz free touchdown. So yeah, I mean, if you do a 3+, it should be the pickup, then screen. First move him here, then pick up, then screen, get something done. Luckily nothing fails, so you're set up nicely here. Obviously Niels is also playing for the win, so I think this is fine to put them all full contact. Try to get those guys not ready to kind of storm forward. So very good pressure here, very good pressure. Then here, of course, you do have the guarder. He can put the pressure on, and will then go for the handoff. What I don't see here really, I mean, you do this assist to block this guy, right, and then you do the handoff. So don't see is, why not just do the handoff first, but you could still do the block afterwards, because then you can have this guy free to somehow push as far forward as possible. I'm not sure where he started. Let's see. So did start all the way over here, so probably wouldn't have had too much, but yeah. I guess you could have still then at least gone like over here to guard this guy and bind these guys. I'm not sure, just in general. I mean, if you're going to do the handoff anyways, might as well have the option of moving him afterwards still. So the handoff fails and the ball bounces to this guy. Still a pretty good position. Of course these guys are now a bit out of position, need to go back, which happens. I think very good defensive position as well, and then from here also well played. A bit unlucky that you don't get the POW here. Question here, you can ask yourself, would it have been better or more useful to actually blitz him from another square where a wrestle would have allowed him to just walk through, which is not the case, because with a push you would have had him here and could have continued, and then you could have just run forward. If you blitz from here, a push would have just resulted in him blocking the way here, and the push over here would have been possible, but it's better if you have a push if this guy is kinda behind and you can screen him off like with standing next to him. So I do think that it was the right choice to do this blitz here. Then you have to wrestle, and of course the annoying thing is that now you have to go like an extra step and you can't get in range. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go. It's just 4, needs 7, so that's a bit the shame. If I just look at this now, right? I mean, there is possibility to go like here in the center and cage a bit more with all the dodges you could make. So that might have been a possibility to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go, and then have two guys like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go, and this guy here. But I do think it's too risky, because there's too many go for it and dodges, so it's better to just get the players up front that can score. So this guy up front, and then you can screen as many as you can, and just push forward. Nice screen here, and then this guy of course could have helped over here as well. Yeah, then a good defense, realizing this guy can score, so only chance now is to kinda blitz and zone and then a pass, which yeah might work sometimes but didn't. So overall I think it's fine to have a tie in this game. Yeah, it's always tough calls whether to stall or not stall, how easy it is to then defend 4 or so turns. Yeah, tough calls. I do think 1 or 2 smaller misplays on just how to blitz or block. I think from the Undead side, really the thing of being aware where your blitzers will be in the next 2 turns later is something to be aware about a bit more, especially if you play a hard matchup like Amazons, which is, in my point of view, quite tough for the Undead. You need to make kind of count of every block you have. From the macro game, my position on having frenzy on a blitzer is always that yes, it might also help against non-dodge players, whereas tackle doesn't. However, against very good players, frenzy can also be more of a nega trait than an advantage skill. If the players know how to play against it, it's not that much of a help anymore. So I always say, I mean, against medium players I rather take frenzy, because it gets you the good opportunities to get like some players off the field and then even win a game where you're a bit behind on dice. Against the very good players, I do think that more than not, it's probably tackle is the better option to really get, especially against the zones and some of the elves, to get the tackle in. Another possibility is just to get another guard in against the wood elves to get better caging against the basher teams. Not sure. I mean, see how it goes, but I do think I do not. I don't think I will play with Frenzy on Undead, but yeah. At the end, I mean, you can play, of course, what you feel comfortable with. So yeah, overall, I mean, pretty good game. So keep it up.